that welcomes the Ginetta G40 Cup for their final event of the 2020 season. And with most of the championships, although not all of them, already wrapped up, we are looking forward to these final two races just being for show for many of the drivers, looking to try and end their season on a high, possibly with a race win. This is the second of three races this weekend for the G40 Cup, the first of which took place in pretty damp conditions yesterday. If anything, it's even wetter out there this afternoon. The track was getting slowly drier over the last half hour or so. It is now starting to rain again, and therefore more and more surface water appearing. The grid then is as follows. It's based upon the result from yesterday's race, with Giles Dawson and Mark Sansom second and third respectively in the championship on the front row together. On row number 2 it is Owen Hizzy, third place on the grid, with Barry Ward alongside him. Barry Ward, a mechanic for Assetto Motorsport, making his first race appearance of the season. Chris White was a non-finisher yesterday. He's got Ignacio Zanon alongside him on the third row of the grid, with Paolo Scripo and Gary Wager on row number 4. Rounding out the top 10 is Mark Lee in the Chairman's Cup with Sean Fleming alongside him, and Neil Wallace at the back of the G40. Then we get into the GRDC competitors. Mark Warren on the class pole. These cars will start with a 10-second delay. Guillaume Lemur and Tom Holland on the second row of the grid together. 7th row overall, but second row of the GRDC grid. Then it's Michael Johnston and Rupert Laslett, who's been a regular top 5 finisher this year. They are on row number 3 of the GRDC grid, just ahead of Jeremy Sussex and Peter Dillnott, 17th and 18th respectively. Then next in line we have Andrew Cohen-Ray and John Wyatt rounding out the top 20 cars overall, both of them looking for another top 10 finish in GRDC. Tom Whitney and Joe Butterworth towards the tail end of the field, with Jay Morton, the last of the cars, set to line up on the grid. Andy McEwen up here in the commentary box, set to talk you through this one, and I'm delighted to say that I'm joined by someone that I've been talking about an awful lot this year, but not talking to. The championship was provisionally wrapped up a couple of weeks ago at Donington Park by Tom Golding, who went on an absolute tear through the middle part of the season. And with the championship more or less decided now, he has decided not to head out onto the circuit this weekend. The Snetterton instead, I'm delighted to say, has joined me in the commentary box. And Tom, first of all, massive congratulations, really well done on the championship this year. Is it a bit strange now, sort of standing here in the comms box, watching the cars lining up and not being part of it yourself?
Thanks, Andy. Yeah, it's definitely strange standing here watching it. I can see him out the window on the line. Should be out there, but no, it's quite nice to watch it from the sides, to be honest.
It's going to be an interesting race, this, isn't it? And we'll be getting Tom's input throughout the two races today. In very wet conditions here at Snetterton, the drivers are really going to be tested. And we should hopefully be in for a pair of very entertaining 20-minute races. In yesterday's race, it was Giles Dawson that took the race victory by just under 7 seconds from Mark Sansom in second. And Barry Ward, who got a podium on his debut, his first appearance in the championship, was a 1-2-3 for Assetto Motorsport as well. Assetto going really strongly here at Snetterton, with SVG's Owen Hizzy fourth, and the Raceway Motorsport car of Ignacio Zanon getting himself another top 5 finish. So the G40 Cup is separated into G40 Cup and the G40 Chairman's Cup, and they are the cars that launch off the line first, and it's not a great start made by Giles Dawson from the inside of row 1. The pole sitter loses the race lead to Mark Sansom, who got remarkably his first podium yesterday, and now is looking for his first race victory in the GRDC ranks. It's Mark Warren that has the race lead, and the luckless Chris White, who was a non-finisher yesterday. He was battling for second into turn 1, and sadly he's on the grass now at Rich's corner. Didn't quite see if there was some contact that put him there. That all means that Sansom has the lead, Giles Dawson second, and then it's side by side for third place behind him, with Owen Hizzy and Baz Ward doing battle for P2. Well, Tom, you've had your fair share of good luck this year. I think it's fair to say that Chris White has had his fair share of bad luck. What does he need to do to get a good result?
Yeah, Chris, very unlucky for Chris. He's always been in trouble, whether it's his fault or someone else's fault, this year. Look at that storming lead from Mark Sansom. That's the first time he'll have been in the lead this year as well.
That's a good point you make, actually. Yes, Mark Sansom, as I said, got his first podium yesterday, but yet to win a race, yet to lead a race, and there's spinning going on in the background. We had a spinner in the GRDC ranks coming out of the hairpin. We have a side-by-side battle almost for the race lead, though, which we'll focus on first of all. That looks like Guillaume Lemur. Yes, it is, the 97, trying to get up the inside of Mark Warren. This is for the GRDC lead. Third place is Thomas Holland in the white number 23 car. Those three cars tied together by a very short piece of string as they head out out of Agostini, and there is a mistake for Mark Sansom. Well, you said that he didn't have that much experience of leading races, and in the wet conditions, as the race leader, you're the pioneer. You're the first one to find out how much or indeed little grip there is. Is that what caught him out, do you think?
Yeah, that's it. You've got to find it. The green flag lap's very important to find the grip, and it's definitely slipper today than it was yesterday, so there's another one off.
Yeah, just ask Peter Dillon, who had a spin there in the 69 car. So, well, it's all go here, isn't it, on the first lap of the race? Giles Dawson's back out in front, Sansom second. Third place is Hizzy, with looks like Barry Ward still in fourth, yes, going with them. You were saying Barry obviously got that podium yesterday, but you really think he has a shot at a race win today?
Yeah, early on yesterday he was the quickest, and then he caught back up with Sansom and just sat there. I think he has got the pace to win, but I don't think he wants to get too involved with the championship this late, so he's probably just going to play it safe.
We'll see. Maybe he's had a rethink. He'll have realised just how quick he was yesterday. He might decide to go for it a bit more. The 87 car coming towards us is the car that had the spin at the Wilson Hairpin, by the way. 87 is Tom Whitney, so he thankfully wasn't collected by anybody. 69 is Peter Dillon. He's had a spin. We've almost got a Class B at the back of the field for those that have had dramas, and add to that list. Oh, that's Whitney again. Dear. So the 87 car off for the second time on this opening lap. The man from Jersey, one of the wants to race run cars, having quite a lively start to his afternoon. So Dawson leads by 1 3/4 seconds over Sansom second, Hizzy third, Ward is fourth, Zanon is up into fifth place ahead of Paolo Scripo sixth, Gary Wage is seventh, Mark Lee is eighth, and Neil Wallace in ninth position. There is the recovering Chris White, so he got going again off the grass. That's a job in itself, actually, isn't it, when it's this wet, especially somewhere like Rich's, which is a popular place for drivers to go off. The grass gets churned up, gets very muddy, and finding the traction to get back going again is not a guarantee.
That's it, get on, get the mud back off, get the mud off the tyres and try and get back to the grip, but he's done all right. He's back on and pushing forward.
Yeah, goes up the inside of Guillaume Lemeur here, who is racing still for the lead of the GRDC ranks. It is Mark Warren, the Orange 27 car, that leads that class. Chris White is not in the same class as them, so he needs to get past them quickly. Speaking of getting past quickly, change for third place. That is Maz Ward ahead now of Owen Hizzy. So the Assetto car goes ahead of the SVG run car. So we're back to this situation now of an Assetto 1-2-3, which is what we saw yesterday as well. And in these wet conditions in particular, I imagine, if your teammates are doing well, if they've landed on a good wet weather setup, it really is beneficial to have a number of drivers in your team, because then you can all benefit. Yeah,
these guys were here on the Thursday in the wet, I think, and they'll just be sharing data. You know, one of them's got it sussed in the wet, and then the lines are all pretty similar. Whereas Owen's just got it all to figure out. He's following in and he's learning, and I hope to see him get back on the podium, but we'll see.
There are 2 SVG Motorsport cars out there, 3 in fact, so he does have teammates, but he is by far the quickest in that team. And Owen trying to get back onto the podium now. It's important not to let that loss of position affect his psychology here. We know that he's got podium pace, has Owen Hizzy, but he finished 4th and some 18 seconds off the lead yesterday, so he'll definitely be looking for an improvement this time. In the sectors, by the way, Giles Dawson fastest in the first and second sector, so he's continuing to get away from Mark Sansom in second position. Hizzy, well, can he catch, Barry Ward, can he catch Mark Sansom, and if so, what does he do about it? This is the more interesting battle, really, the one for the GRDC lead. Mark Warren and Guillaume Lemeur. In GRDC, it is Stephen Docker, who is already the provisional champion, and therefore he, like with Tom, has decided not to race here at this final event of the season. It's shaping up to be a nice battle, this, isn't it, between these 3? Nearly 2 laps in, and no one's really broken away yet.
Yeah, yesterday Lemeur won, so I should think he'll be hot on his heels. Might even make the pass, so one to watch for sure.
Yeah, Guillaume was 8.5 seconds up the road from Mark Warren at the end of yesterday's race, so suggests that he's got a little bit of time in hand. Now, I wasn't here yesterday, unfortunately. I didn't see the Saturday race. I was busy getting soggy up and all.
Really going to struggle. So probably for the guys in the Cup, their tyres might like this more, but yeah, these guys are really going to be fighting for it, the grip.
Yeah, that is one of the key things with the difference between the GRDC and the G40 Cup and Chairman's Cup competitors is the tyres, these sort of pretty much standard road tyres that the GRDC runners are on. It affords them less grip in the dry and significantly less grip, I'd imagine, in the wet, but they're doing a pretty good job nonetheless. No one taking the really wide line there through the Wilson hairpin. It's funny, you go to some circuits and you try to use that that wider line, which in theory, it's called the karting line, isn't it really? That usually is the quickest way around the corners in the wet, but you're so close to the edge of the road. It's a bit of a leap of faith, isn't it, to use. Traction, that is the quickest way around the corner, but it is a risk, isn't it?
Yeah, outside, there's more traction on the outside, and anyone trying to make the dive there, they always get a bit of a shake coming out the corner, because, yeah, you just got the car more pointed when you go wide, so worth a go, though.
Well, yeah, it's there is grip out there, but you're so close to the edge of the road. It is perilous indeed. 99 there was Mark Lee trying to get past Gary Wage. That was for the Chairman's Cup lead, but Gary hanging on. And Chris White is already now not last in the G40 Cup. He's gone past Neil Wallace on this lap, and he's only a few seconds behind the Lee and Fleming fight ahead. He goes through. Giles Dawson no, it is a new fastest lap, a 2:34.135. Compare that to the fastest lap yesterday. It was Giles Dawson again. It was a 2:33.5. So we're within a second of yesterday's lap times, but there is, to the eye, a lot more standing water out there now than there was even in the early stages of the race. Is there any particular part of this circuit, Tom, that is more prone to standing water and aquaplaning?
I haven't actually done this one in the wet, so I'm not sure, but I'd be very cautious in sector 3. It's tricky in the dry, let alone the wet, breaking into the bridge.
Yeah, it's tricky, and through the bomb hole, of course, with its iconic dip at the apex, that can collect quite a lot of water. Fox Sansom here now. I thought he was getting away from Barry Ward, but on the previous lap, Ward was a tenth quicker. That gap was 1.3 seconds. It's not 1.3 seconds now, is it? Ward is definitely quicker on this lap, and okay, they're teammates, and yes, he doesn't really want to upset Mark Sansom, but it makes little difference to Sansom as far as the championship's concerned, whether he finishes second or third. We know he's pretty much got this third place in the title race wrapped up now, so I don't think Ward needs to feel too obliged to sit behind him, does he?
I'm not sure where. Sansom third in the championship?
Oh, yes. Well, coming in, yeah, I think, fourth maybe. Fourth, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not even sure whether he'll score points. Baz Ward joining this late. They might just completely. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, I think he'll catch him and sit on the back of him, maybe just wait for him to make a mistake. I don't think he'll make a crazy lunge because he won't be very popular, would he, with the team? But
yeah, they'll have to be a little careful, as they are not only teammates, but Barry works for the team as well as a mechanic. So yeah, it would be a slightly embarrassing conversation back in the garage afterwards. This GRDC lead battle continues to rage on now. Guillaume Lemur, he tried the inside line down here a lap ago. Now he's going to the outside to try and find that grip.
Might get it.
Yeah, he's got a good exit, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's covered him off, but
just no way through. And Hamilton is not, it doesn't strike me as one of those corners. There's left-hand king here as one that you want to go through side by side in the dry, let alone the wet. So even if you do get the run out of Agostini, it's hard to do anything with it.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to be side by side. And it's actually, when you cross the dry line in the wet, that corner's nasty. You see the cars kicking out and a couple of them spinning in qualifying, so it's not really good for a move, no.
To Williams they go, sideways for the 27 of Mark Warren.
Looks like he's got the drive now.
Yeah, good exit there from the right-hander. Further back, this is the number 7 car of John Wyatt, being overtaken by number 17, which is Morton. That is a change for 21st place overall. They are not actually in the same class technically. They're both GRDC runners, but Morton, one of the few non-rookies in the race, and rookies have their own class within the GRDC. majority of GRDC competitors are rookie drivers because, Tom, it's such a great entry-level way of getting into motorsport. If you are a young up-and-coming driver or even a more experienced driver and you want to get into racing, buy yourself a G40, enter the GRDC. It's a great way to learn your craft, and fortunately Morton, having just gained that place, does all of his hard work and has a spin. Jay Morton there in the number 17 car, no harm done. But yeah, that is definitely a really great way to get your foot on that first rung of the racing ladder, and then the Ginetta racing ladder itself will carry you a long way.
It's perfect. It's rookies only. Get one through the screen. That's the leader. Yes. It's perfect. Everyone else is a rookie, so you know, you're all in the same boat. Everyone's nervous for the first race, and he learned racecraft, perfect for moving up into G40 Cup.
Speaking of racecraft, Guillaume Leboeuf trying to deploy every bit of racecraft that he's learned in his rookie season to get past the race leader in GRDC, Mark Warren. It is harder in a way to overtake in the wet, isn't it? Because although it does open up this opportunity to use different lines, there is still one line that is by definition quicker and grippier than the others. So although it looks like Guillaume is a little quicker than the race leader, he just can't break through.
Can't get through it. No, I think he's just showing him a nose now. Just showing him a nose there. Look, not gone for it. Just getting Warren looking in his mirrors and trying to make the mistake.
Does that work? Do you think that little flash of colour in the mirrors, does it distract the driver in front?
Some drivers, I'd say for Dawson, for example, he's you can bluff him definitely. Some drivers don't fall for it. They don't really look in the mirror. But look, he's defending and he's got him.
Oh, right around the outside, Guillaume Leboeuf. Now, can he stop the car, though? He's gone very wide this time, maybe too wide. No, gets the traction on the exit of the corner, and, well, he had to try something different. He'd kind of been looking to that outside line into Agostini, but he had to go right to the outside to get the grip.
That's it, yeah. Just show him a nose, make Warren go to the inside, and then the dummy, go wide, rail it around the edge.
Yeah, that is something that you can only really do in the wet, I suppose. You would normally try and sell the dummy to get to the inside line into a braking zone. Further forward, by the way, Barry Ward has just set the fastest lap of the race, 2:33.487, so he's now less than a second behind Mark Sansom, and the two of them are... Well, Sansom's slightly slower than the race leader, but Barry Ward on the previous lap was 3/10 quicker than race leader Charles Dawson, so with 6.5 minutes to go, I don't think Ward has time to win the race, but he's certainly showing his speed that he's got here. Chris White doing the same sort of thing as he closes in on Gary Wager, which means that he's already got past Mark Lee in the 99. No, I think Lee's got ahead of Wager, hasn't he? So there's been some shuffling here for 7th place. Mark Lee is into 7th, the black 99 car. 8th position at the moment is Gary Wager, but Chris White showing the speed that we know he's got. He's just had zero luck, as we've said all season long, but he's a good racer, is Chris White, and he's making, or attempting to make, a nice move here into riches.
Yeah, Chris is a good driver. That's actually 1 and 2 in the Chairman's Cup we're looking at there. Mark Lee, Gary Wager. Mark doesn't need to beat him, but we had a chat earlier, and I said you've definitely got the speed. You can do it if you want to do it, and he got himself psyched up today, and he's proved he can do it.
Yeah, that is the one class that has not really been wrapped up yet, is the Chairman's Cup. But as you said, it's almost a done deal as we go into these final 2 races of the season. Second place battle there, just negotiating a bit of traffic going out of Williams onto the Bentley Straight. Now, has that given Ward the slipstream? I think it has, because Mark Sansom, looking, the grey and blue 43 car, is driving defensively down the Bentley Straight. Ward sitting in the toe, trying to get that extra straight line speed. They're also negotiating their back markers down the straight. Ward, from the inside to the outside. I thought for a second he'd locked up, but no,
he's done it.
He's gone for it round the outside, and Brundle gets the inside for Nelson. So much more confidence on the brakes.
That's a brilliant move. You don't really go for a move around there in the dry, let alone the wet.
That was impressive. Oh no, and he's thrown it away at the very next corner at the bomb hole. Well, Barry, it was fun whilst it lasted, and having got into second, he unfortunately has made the mistake. Do you think he may have got a bit excited there, having made the move stick?
Yeah, I think, like you said, actually, sometimes there is a river at that corner, so maybe he's hit that and it's just spun him. It was a nice 360 though.
Yes, 10 out of 10 for style, but it costs him not only second place, but also third to Owen Hizzy. Here's the replay, Tom, talk us through it.
Yeah, he looks like he's lost it in the bomb hole, so he could have hit a puddle. It's hard to say though, standing here.
Yes, indeed, and that tricky right-hander, it's pretty easy flat, I'd imagine, in the dry, isn't it? But in these conditions, flat, yeah. You've really got to be careful.
I think it's a touch of the brake today, and then just wait be careful on the throttle, but maybe just carried too much speed through that time.
Well, either way, he went off the road and, well, he's only 3 seconds behind Owen Hizzy, so another podium result is still possible. We've got just under 4 minutes to go. They're lapping in the, well, 2 minute 36 last time around for Giles Dawson. I think the weather conditions are definitely getting worse. Interestingly, the 5th lap of the race was most drivers' fastest lap of the race, and 1 lap later they've dropped about 3 seconds or so, so it's a long lap here, and I suppose by the time you get back around to the same piece of racetrack on the next lap, a lot could have changed. Is he coming on strong here, isn't he, in the final part of the race, closing in on Mark Sansom, who obviously lost a bit of time being overtaken, and he may have had to lift off the throttle there when he saw, it's a reaction, isn't it, when Barry got sideways, I'm sure Mark also lifted.
Mark would have lost time, but Owen's been quick all year. He's been quicker than Mark, I think. So he knows he can beat him. And for the first sector, he certainly stayed with him just then. I think he can beat him, but...
running out of time now as well, with 3 minutes to go. 1 more lap after this one, then, more than likely. And Owen Hizzy, the number 74 car, it's out of Palmer's. Didn't quite get the podium yesterday. SVG Motorsport car is in a podium position now. There is Giles Dawson, the race leader, the blue and white 95 car. We haven't seen much of him because he's put on a very Tom Golding-esque display in this race, hasn't he, really? Got the lead at the start, pulled away. Well, did not right at the start, I suppose, didn't get a good start, but managed, once he did hit the front, to pull a pretty sizable gap pretty quickly. And then once you've got that gap, it's just a case of managing the situation, not making any mistakes. But how easy is it in a situation like this to start losing concentration when you know you've more or less got it in the bag? You've still got to keep your mind active.
Yeah, in the wet it's definitely harder. I should think Dawson's just playing it safe with that gap, whereas in the dry I like to keep pushing every lap. I want to hit the best lap I can, so yeah, play it safe. That's the best bet.
Yes, we noticed that about you throughout the course of the season, even with sometimes a 20-second lead, still pushing for those fastest laps at the end of the race. Mark Sansom then and Owen Hizzy, 2nd and 3rd. The gap between the two of them was 1.5 seconds at the start of the lap. It is only 2 or 3 car lengths this time as they come through to start the final lap of the race, lap number 8. And the gap is now to half a second. Ward, by the way, is 3.3 seconds back. And it was slightly quicker than Sansom, slightly slower than Hizzy in the previous lap. Turn 1 over the curb there for Sansom. Lots of standing water now, especially if you move offline, which Sansom is doing there to defend into Wilson. Now, that works on the way in, but he's going to be slower off the corner. Sansom, I think, is a little rattled here. He knows that Hizzy is probably a little bit quicker than him, and do you think he's maybe starting to drive a bit too defensively, a bit too soon?
Yeah, possibly. Owen doesn't need to beat him. It's going to make no difference to him in the championship. I said to him, you know, if you can do it, but don't do anything crazy. But he's a driver at the end of the day. Look, he's showing him a nose everywhere. Fair play to him, I'd do the same.
Exactly, yes. You're out there to race, and if there is a chance of getting 1 step further up the podium, why not go for it? And he will see that Sansom is starting to drive defensively, and actually that will give Owen Hizzy a little bit of extra confidence that maybe he can find a way through after all. Sansom just gapping him a little bit there through Hamilton, carried more speed through that quick left-hander. Hizzy, look on the previous lap, 9/10 of a second quicker than the 2nd place man. Giles Dawson, though, is the race leader, goes around the outside.
Sansom's dropped back, I think.
Okay, let's see what happens coming onto the Bentley Straight. Dawson, the leader, negotiates the 99 of Mark Lee. What's going on behind then? Is it still Sansom, or has Owen Hizzy managed to get him? Because anything through the spray, can you, down the back straight? And that is Hizzy now, isn't it? So where is Mark Sansom? Is nowhere to be... there he is. So a moment by the looks of it for Sansom. I didn't quite spot him. Did it look like he made a mistake, maybe?
To be honest, I just seen in the corner of my eye the grey car backing up. I don't know what happened to him, but he didn't look like he was off the track, though.
Right, okay. Interesting. He's only lost the 1 place. The car looks like it's up to speed again now, so maybe a missed gear or something?
Yeah, or just got the back out a bit, or anything, yeah.
Only takes a momentary loss of momentum in these things to lose yourself a lot of time. Giles Dawson hasn't lost any time, though, apart from at the start. It wasn't a great getaway for the number 95 car, but the man who is already secure in 2nd place in the championship is going to come through to take another race victory. Giles Dawson comes across the start-finish line and wins the penultimate round of the Ginetta G40 Cup at Snetterton. Checkered flag goes out for Giles Dawson. 2nd place is going to be Owen Hizzy I think. We'll just wait for them to come across the line. Yep, Hizzy comes second. Third place for Mark Sansom, and Barry Ward there was a little bit delayed, I think, by Mark Lee at the final corner. No, not Mark Lee, 69, that is, excuse me, which is Peter Dillnot. Here comes a nice little battle, is it, coming out of the final corner. Ignacio Zanon, no, this is the 24 car, which is Butterworth, down in 20th place overall. These two cars actually that were one lap down. He's going to get past Andrew Cohen-Ray, is he? Yes, just on the line by 79 one-thousandths of a second. That was actually for 19th place overall. And 8th position within the GRDC. Cohen-Ray, though, still wins the GRDC category itself, Butterworth being a GRDC rookie. There, finally, goes Ignacio Zanon, who is 5th position. Paolo Scribo will be 6th in the 77 car. And Chris White, there you can see in the background, going past the back markers, up into 7th place. Not a bad recovery drive, he's had a few of them this year. And he is going to get himself a solid top 10.
That's for 3rd place in the Chairman's Cup, this one. And Neil Wallace, 33, could really do with overtaking Fleming, because this is going to go down to the last race who gets 2nd in the championship.
Yeah, so valuable points then on offer, but only really one more chance for Wallace to make the move. The leaders in the Chairman's Cup have already gone through. Mark Lee with the win, Gary Wager with 2nd place. This for 3rd position, heading through Murray's corner for the final time, splashing their way out of the left-hander across the grid markings, and it looks as though he's going to hang on, isn't he? No way that Neil Wallace is coming from that far back. So it is the 66 car that gets the 3rd place in Flash. Sean Fleming hangs on, and Wallace in 4th position, and then we wait for the rookies to come through. Guillaume Lemur, having got past Mark Warren, is now 6 seconds up the road, so it looks as though Lemur is going to take the rookie class victory from Warren 2nd and Thomas Holland in 3rd. Giles Dawson, though, a race winner at Snetterton, and he'll be happy with this race victory, I'm sure. And it's been a solid season for Giles, hasn't it? He had good pace at the start of the year. Obviously, you had your engine issues right back at the start of the season, but I think it's fair to say Giles has been still a worthy competitor in this championship.
Yeah, Giles has done well. I wish I was out there, I'd give him a run, but yeah, he's got it this weekend.
Giles Dawson with the race victory in the penultimate round of the Ginetta G40 Cup here at Snetterton from pole position. But it was actually quite as easy as that makes it sound. Oops, one last little hurdle for him to jump as we still have cars coming across the start-finish line to finish the race that were a lap down. That was Rupert Laslett, who was the last car to see the checkered flag, and he just had a spin at the final corner, which has actually cost him 4th place in the GRDC rookie ranks. He lost that place to number 29 in the end, which was the Sussex car. So 4th place in the end goes to Sussex, last one down to 5th. But Giles Dawson thankfully managed to avoid him. Confirmation then of the result. It's Giles Dawson with the win, Owen Hizzy 2nd, Mark Sansom in 3rd position with Barry Ward 4th, not quite on the podium, ran as high as 2nd at one point before that spin bomb hole. Massive gap back then to Ignacio Zanon, 42 seconds off the lead. He was 5th place though, with Paolo Scribo 6th, Chris White 7th, Mark Lee 8th, Gary Wager 9th, Sean Fleming was in 10th position. And 11th place for Neil Wallace. And remember, it was Mark Lee that won the Chairman's Cup significantly there, with Wager 2nd, Fleming 3rd, Wallace in 4th. Guillaume Lemur is 12th overall, wins in GRDC, also wins the rookie class, which makes up the bulk of the GRDC grid, from Mark Warren, Thomas Holland, and Sussex in 4th position. Then it was Laslett, Dillnot, Johnston, Butterworth, Andrew Cohen-Ray, into some of those that had issues now, Tom Whitney, John Wyatt, and Joe Morton at the back of the field. That is how the second race of 3 this weekend was completed. Their final race will be later on in the day. Here, though, some of the highlights from a very damp penultimate round of the championships. Some good starts made from further back of the grid, particularly Chris White, who wriggled his way up the inside into 2nd place. And it was contact with Giles Dawson, the eventual race winner, who had a poor start from pole position. Dawson elbowing his way back through on the inside at the expense of Chris White. The GRDC battle was particularly entertaining in the early stages. Mark Warren got a good start, so did Guillaume Lemur in the 97 car, and those two were tied together for much of the early portion of the race, whilst there were many spinners in the early stages, including 2 off-track excursions in the opening laps for Tony Whitney in the 87 car. Chris White was busy fighting his way back ahead of the GRDC runners after his first corner spin. That was the battle of the race, really. Guillaume Levert trying everything he could to get himself ahead of Mark Warren and just couldn't break through Mark's defences. Mark already confirmed as the champion in the GRDC rookie category this year, but he wanted another race victory. Barry Ward had got himself into second place ahead of Mark Sansom, and then at the very next corner threw it away onto the grass at the bomb hole, falling down to fourth by the flag. All of this, though, going on behind Giles Dawson, who came across the start-finish line to take another race victory in the Ginetta G40 Cup. 6.7 seconds, his eventual winning margin over Owen Hizzy in second, and Mark Sansom in third position. Well, the final race of the season for the Ginetta G40 Cup comes later this afternoon. We'll see you then for more action.